Happy Friday, y'all. Tiffanie Kellog here with another amazing woman entrepreneur living child-free. I'm super excited to be joined today by Hunter. Welcome, Hunter.
Hey, thank you for having me.
We are super excited to have you here. And y'all, okay, so you've done something competitive that I didn't even know was competitive, which I always like to win. So I was like, I can win at this. So tell us, what kind of competitive, I want to say competitive sport, but it's not really a sport. What kind of competitions do you do that's unusual?
Yes, so I am a competitive karaoke singer. So there is a league that I've been a part of where we all get together and there's themes each week. You're part of a team, and you perform solo and in a group against each other. So for I think about 8 weeks, and then in the final 2 weeks, it becomes a bracket system. So you're kind of like racking up points throughout the season. For the finale, we bring in outside judges and everything. It is very fun. Like if you think it's not just regular karaoke, like there are costumes. It's just probably a bunch of theater kids getting together, singing their little hearts out on stage, and it is truly a blast.
So is it like to the level of like the lip syncing show kind of thing, but you actually sing versus lip singing kind of?
A little bit, yeah. Like each person will kind of do their own things. Some teams get way more into costumes. Some will have like a whole choreography planned out. So it depends on the team that you wind up on. At the beginning of the season, they do ask you when you're kind of signing up to join a team. They ask you like, okay, like how intense do you want to be? Because if you don't want to get that intense, we'll put you with the team that's not that intense. But it really is such a great way to get to know people and have fun, have that little bit of competition. But really, like I said, it's just essentially a ton of theater kids just living their little dream.
So do you have a go-to song?
Oh my gosh, so many.
I feel like 3 or 5.
Right. Well, I feel like you have to read the room when you go in for karaoke, right? Like you gotta get a feel for who is there. But I love 80s rock. Pat Benatar is my idol. So I have a ton of Pat Benatar songs that I love to do. Heartbreaker is one of my favorites. One of my favorite karaoke performances though for competitive karaoke, I did it with a teammate. We did Yeah by Usher, Little John, and Ludacris. And it was so good. We had the crowd. So I like teed them up before we started. I was like, okay, guys, like we're gonna need your help for this song. Do you think you can do that? And they're all like, yeah. And I'm like, perfect. You know exactly what to do then. So anytime that the yeah would come on, we would point the mics at the crowd, and everyone was having so much fun. But really, it all depends. It depends. It also depends on my energy too. Like if I'm feeling low energy, I'll do like Betty Davis eyes or something. But I love it.
That is so, and all these songs are older than you are too, aren't they?
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. The 80s music. It was awesome. I grew up on 80s music because I grew up in the 80s. So yeah, special place in my heart for sure. Speaking of growing up, where in the world did you grow up? Where in the world are you nowadays?
Yeah, so I have bounced around the Midwest. So I grew up in Missouri. After college, I moved down to Austin, Texas, lived there for a little while, moved up to Kansas, was there for a little while, up to Chicago, was there for a couple of years, and now am staying in Wisconsin. I am loving Wisconsin. I don't know anyone watching this. If you have never been, it is absolutely beautiful. Like the Great Lakes are stunning. I live right across from the water, which is my favorite. Like I feel like I kind of get to like be on what feels like the ocean without having to pay ocean prices.
Or deal with hurricanes.
Exactly. We do get
I live in Tampa, Florida, and we had not one, but two massive ones. And they didn't even hit us. Like we had two pretty devastating for some areas hurricanes, and it did not even hit us.
Brutal. Yeah, we just get the really cold winters. Like it gets very cold. Like we're not even out of August yet, and it already feels like fall. Like we're in the 60s right now. And so I'm a fall girl. I love it. But I'm like, what does this mean for winter though? If we're already in the 60s, how cold are we going to get this winter?
Yeah, that's up north. Like, it's funny. We usually do a trip in like October, November. We seem to be like in Michigan, and I'm like, it's cold, and people are looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, it was funny, one January we went down south in Florida, like 2 or 3 hours, and like, you were in your parkas. Where are we at? I'm like, Florida. I'm like, it was like 40 degrees. It was freezing. We're all different. We're all weird, what we like. So, but kudos to you. It's awesome to have the beach view without the beach cost or the hurricanes.
Exactly.
Is it ice over, or is it so big of a body that yeah?
It will. So it really depends. Lake Michigan is so cool and it'll do all kinds of stuff. So last year we got some pretty cold weather that created these massive sheets of ice, but Lake Michigan has so many waves. And so what'll sometimes happen, I cannot remember what these things are called. I wish I did, but essentially these huge waves will freeze midair and create these massive like dome, like kind of these mountains in the water of sorts. But you have to be really careful. You can't climb on them because you will absolutely die. Because in the center is actually all hollowed out. So it looks like this massive mound of like snow, but it's not. And sometimes we'll get like these ice balls. I have not seen them yet since being up here. I'm hoping to get to see them before I eventually move. I move around so much, but lots of cool stuff happens on the lake. We went out last year when all the ice was there and it looked like we were like on the tundra. Like we have photos that looked like we had to have been in Antarctica. And we're like, nah, we're just in Wisconsin.
That is awesome. So you talk about your travel a lot. So does your company, does your profession allow you the freedom to be nomadic, or do you have a lot of clients where you live?
So a lot of my clients are all throughout the US. I've got some in Europe, some in Costa Rica, up in Canada as well. So I get to work with all kinds of people everywhere. I will say, so I did S Corps. And so that did complicate things a little bit. I'm a little less nomadic now because I did have to set everything up, in the state of Wisconsin. But I would still say that like the ability to hop around is really important to me. Like I've stayed in places for maybe 3 to 4 years max before moving on. And so we recently moved up to Wisconsin, we'll get our couple years out of it and then I'll dissolve what I have to dissolve. I'll talk to my accountant and be like, hey, we got to do it again.
Where do we go next? So if y'all are wondering, because you're like, okay, Tiffanie, y'all talked weather, you talked hurricanes and the ice ball thingies that we don't know the name of that I'm going to ask AI later. What's going on? Tell us about this hunter. What does she do? And so look, I have the bio, which I'm not going to get through at least the first time or two, but let's get started on it. So Hunter is the founder of Verdure Design Company.
Verdure. So it's like merger, but with a V. So folks, this is the thing, guys. I am a brand designer and a brand strategist, and I did not follow the cardinal rule, which was pick a name that people can pronounce. But at this point, like I'm too invested. I'm adding FAQs like on my website. That's like I've added the like phonetic.
So you're on Zoom. Do you have it like phonetically in your Zoom title?
Yes.
And y'all, so I usually ask my guests, like, just to verify the names, how do you pronounce it? Now I might need to make sure I start adding the company name to it too. I was just like, oops, I'm reading. Oops. But now it's a great story.
Exactly.
So here's the thing. I'm going to just turn this into a teaching lesson, y'all. This is why you need a professional to help you out. You need that go-to branding wingwoman, which is what Hunter does. She transforms, those forgettable businesses into magnetic brands so client can't resist. And so I think it very much speaks to the point of why it's so important to have somebody outside of yourself when it comes to branding. I've got an event happening October 16th, and I was thinking about calling it Zoom into more free time because, let's get to more free time really quick. But then somebody was like, am I going to be learning about Zoom? And I'm like, no, crap. I really, really like that name. But if people think it's going to be about Zoom, it is on Zoom. But if they think it's going to be about Zoom too, then not a good idea. So
Well, it's
that's
kind of
why you need a wingwoman.
exactly. You always like, I'm telling you, the number of mistakes that could be avoided if you just had another person in the room to bounce the idea off of, which is exactly what I do, right? Like I'm that person in the room to help you flesh out the ideas that are good, maybe put to bed the ones that aren't so great, and build something that really lights you up, but also attracts the people you want to be attracting.
Yeah, and I love the fact that we're talking about, have somebody to bounce it off of. However, that doesn't just mean, talk to your partner or some random person. You need somebody that has a level of expertise, which is what you meant for sure in that area, because it's very easy. Like I laugh, people, they're like, well, I asked so and so, and I'm like, so and so has no experience or expertise in this area.
Exactly. Exactly. And also, I think the thing to remember too is, and I think a lot of businesses experience this early on, right? Like when you're planning out your business and you're thinking you're going to get started and you're coming up with your ideas, if you're talking to people who don't get it, like entrepreneurs, we've got crazy ideas, right? Like
Mhm.
we dream big, we shoot for the stars. And when you're talking to someone of a very different mindset, like
Mm.
you'll also get feedback that maybe isn't the best feedback because maybe they're not the people you're trying to target, right? Like if I'm trying to sell new bras to women, right? And I'm only asking dudes
Mm.
about this idea, like I'm not going to get the info that I need, right? Like maybe they'll look a certain way, but they're not going to be comfortable. People aren't going to want to wear them. Like all this stuff, right? So really thinking about who it is that you would take advice from for one, but also like do they have, like you said, expertise in that field? Are they the audience you're trying to attract? Like you can ask people that are maybe friends and family, but don't let that be the only people that you ask.
Yeah, it's so interesting. As I was working on this idea of women entrepreneurs living child free, do I want to do this? Is it viable? I mean, the number of people that were like, oh, that's weird, that's silly, that's hokey, why would you do that? And I'm like, you ain't my target market. You ain't my target market. You ain't my target. I'm like, the people that I talk to in my target market. Now, some of them I did have to explain the joy of being in a room full of people without kids and focusing on the business. But once I did, they're like, oh, yeah, I've never experienced that. I so do want that because it's super exciting. All the other people that were like, huh, weren't my ideal client. It makes such a big difference.
Exactly. And it's why market research is so important, that you're talking to the right people and you learn a lot too. Like sometimes you talk to the ideal client and they're like, yeah, no, I probably wouldn't buy that. And you're like, well, thank
Let's
God I spoke to you. Save me a lot of time and money.
Yeah, I love the idea of asking the right people the right questions, getting that feedback. But it is because sometimes I'll put stuff out on Facebook. I do that all the time. Hey, what do y'all think of this? And then I'll get feedback, and I'm like, this is I'm not going to pay attention to this person anyway. They're not right for this group. The naysayers often is like, okay, it's not a good fit, and then let me pay attention to the people that are the right fit. And I think that when it comes to branding, that's so important because I think a lot of times people think, what is the brand that I want? So can I, like, y'all, again, we're just skipping all over the place. I never know where we're going to go because people are like, can I have questions? I'm like, I don't know what the questions are going to be because I had no idea we are going to go this deep in brand. But I'm curious, can you give us a little bit of insight on why it's important that the brand not just be about us, that the brand be about the people that we're working with as well?
Absolutely. So I like to tell people to really think about branding the same way you would, and marketing too, the same way that you would about dating.
Mm.
Because it is a two-way street, right? Like there's parts of you, like you want to be showing up in a way that feels good for you. You want to be showing up in a way that feels authentic, but at the same time, you're also trying to attract people. The example that I give is like, if you were trying, let's say that you're trying to attract a Wall Street worker. You're like, I'm going to marry this Wall Street bro. That's what I'm going to do. This is what I'm doing, right? But if you aren't presenting yourself in a way that is going to attract a Wall Street bro, if you're not showing up in the places where the Wall Street bros hang out, like chances are if you're trying to attract a Wall Street bro, you're not going to find him in a biker bar.
Mm.
Right? Like you have to be thinking about, even if biker bars are where you like to hang out, you have to be thinking about, okay, who is the best fit for me? Who am I wanting to attract? Am I in alignment to do that? And a lot of times, and I see this all the time with businesses who are just starting out. And if this is you, there is no shame here. Okay. Like, been there, done it. Like, I've rebranded myself. I am a brand designer and have rebranded myself a number of times.
Y'all, you're hearing this. Just because you're branded doesn't mean you can't change it. So keep this in mind. I just want to make sure that we stop. Listen, like there's a song, I think. Yeah, stop, collaborate, and listen. That's what we're going to do. So we just want you to stop for a minute to think about your brand as Hunter shares this.
Yes, because when you first start out, you oftentimes haven't fully fleshed out your ideas, right? You don't know yet who you're really going to be targeting. Maybe you've tested your offer a little bit, but you're still figuring out pricing. And so there's so much that is going to change as you grow. And you start to figure out, okay, who is it that I really want to be working with? Who lights me up to work with? Because that's another thing. Oftentimes when we start out, we're taking everybody we can, right? We are like, listen, I need money. I need proof that this is going to work. But as you start doing that, you're going to see, okay, well, I really liked working with Susie, or I really liked working with Adam, and these were great clients. I want to find more people like that. And that's when I highly recommend starting to consider speaking with a brand strategist who can help you figure out, okay, who are these people? Where are they? And what do they need to experience in this like courting process with you to feel comfortable engaging in a relationship?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I love to use the example of networking and dating. And, you're talking brand and dating. Why is it, do you think, that people think business relationships are so different than any other relationship?
Oh my gosh, it's so funny you asked this because I actually, on my podcast, I had a guest on, her name is Lauren Najjar, and we talked about this, about networking specifically, and how people think that business relationships are so different, but like really it's no different than how you would speak to someone in line at a coffee shop. But what I think it is personally is I think that we have this idea in our heads that business is stuffy. Business is stuffy when we think networking, right? Which is a core part of running a business. We think of I'm going to say like 90s corporate event. Everyone shows up with their pocket protectors and their business cards, right? And you got like your 15 seconds to pitch yourself, and you just go and do that in all these little arenas. And I think, and this is something that I absolutely love about how many women are entering business, because I think we are seeing a very big shift in the way that business is done. And I think even the online space, right? But like up until probably just a couple years ago, and even now still, right? Like marketing is very bro-y. And I feel like we're fine, right? Like we're finally starting.
There's a whole term now, bro marketing. I hadn't heard it till like the last year. I guess I hung in different circles, but now it's like bro marketing is everywhere. Especially, who's the guy that just launched that everybody's talking about?
Alex Hormozy or something like that.
I had never heard of him before. And like the Friday before his launch, I heard from like 5 different people, and like everybody's doing this massive thing, and it's like bro marketing, which is probably why I haven't looked into it.
Right.
That's probably, I went to a bro marketing kind of event earlier this year, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of
right. Like, this is
not my flavor. Nothing wrong with it.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Exactly. Well, I feel like it's such a key difference in the way that I have interacted with a lot of women business owners. And just like you said, it's figuring out what rooms do I like to be in. And we're seeing now, just like with the community that you're building and a number of other communities, oftentimes led by women, that we're starting to shift that perspective. But I think that that's why people are maybe a little more hesitant or don't realize the relationship part, right? Because otherwise it seems so transactional. And that's the thing about bro marketing. Like bro marketing, at least in my opinion, is very transactional marketing. And I feel like what we're trying to do now, and with people catching on, right? Like people have been bombarded with the bro marketing. I think people at this point are really wanting to build relationships with brands. You see that in stats all the time about how businesses with strong brands and brand relationships with their customers wind up retaining customers longer. You make more money that way. Like people want connection. And I think post pandemic too, like I know that COVID is still around, but like connection is huge. We were all stuck in our homes and many of us haven't returned to a workplace since then either. And so treating your brand like a living, breathing entity that wants to connect with people, wants to build a relationship with people, because people don't want to feel like a transaction, right? Like they want to feel like an important human being. And I think more than ever, that is becoming so important in business.
Yeah. And I want to jump to your last line of the bio that I have. And I know I don't usually do that, y'all, but I really love what it says. So that's why we're going there. So with Hunter's refreshingly real approach, she guides business owners to find their brand voice, attract perfect fit clients, not just paying clients, perfect fit clients, y'all, dress to impress, and create relationships. And I love this, where both sides are so excited for that second date. And I think that that's such a crucial component. Sometimes, I mean, especially in the referral world, it's like, let me refer you to somebody. And it's like to me, it should be, if I'm referring you to somebody, if I'm creating this introduction, it should be like, oh my gosh, Hunter, I have been looking for you. You are going to, save my project. You're going to help me make things happen versus just, okay, Hunter, tell me what you do.
Exactly. Well, again, it's that two-way street, it's that desire to be excited, to feel something in the business. And I feel you, because I feel like we're seeing too an influx in like a desire to build referral networks, but not get to know the person that you're referring, which folks, don't do that. Like you are setting yourself up for failure if you do that.
Yeah. So in book number 1, 4.5 networking mistakes, I'm not going to pull it out of here because then I'd probably like drop all the rest of the books and Baby Yoda would go flying. And we don't want that. I talk about that going to networking events is not enough. You can't just meet somebody. It's like going to speed dating and trying to get married. It just, you've got to have that relationship. And I love the fact that being authentic to who you are. It's, people have this idea, let me be professional and let me be, I'm on time and competent and a professional expert. And it's like,
right. Well, I feel like it's one of the things that I'm having to do a lot of educating on is like professional doesn't mean stuffy. Like when I say, let me help you develop a professional brand, I am not saying, let me build a corporate brand for you. That is not the case. What is happening is we are pulling together and polishing the parts of your business that you've not been able to polish up to this point. And what that also does is it gives you your time back to go and do the things that you're really damn good at in your business. Because we all know when we start the thing, we're like, okay, I'm going to do like this thing that I love, and this is going to be it. And then you're wearing, what did they say? All the hats, right? Yeah. Like you're like, okay, wait, I got to do payroll and I got to do the taxes. And you mean I got to be my social media manager too? And you're doing all these things. And what winds up happening, right, is that takes away from the time that you could be putting into the things that you do best and also the things that make you the most money. I'm going to tell you right now, if you are not a designer, tweaking your logo is not the best use of your time. It is fun. Yes. It's fun. That's why I do it. But it is not the best use of your time. And so what I try to help people understand is professional really is just polishing. It's getting clear. It is getting strategic so that all of your pieces serve a purpose. And that purpose is to help you build that relationship with people, to help attract those people, to make sales easier, to make your marketing easier, and ultimately to make running your business easier because you aren't having to do everything. Let me at least take that off your plate.
Yeah. I have a marketing degree. I ran a promotional products company. So I love the marketing space. I played in there for many years. And I don't do my own branding stuff anymore. I don't do my own marketing stuff. I love it and it's super fun, but there are better ways for me to make money than doing that. And so, yeah, I'm always like, what is your thing that really lights you up in your business that makes you money? Spend your time there, hire professionals to do the rest. Now, I know you do have for us today a free brand attractiveness assessment. Wherever y'all are watching this, whatever platform, in the description for this video is the link, because I was going to give you the link and then I'm like, no. It's on the description wherever you're watching this. That way you don't have to type it out, because you were never going to go type it out anyway. Let's be honest, y'all. So it is in the description here to get your free brand attractiveness assessment. Will you tell us about that, please?
Yeah. So one of the key things that I have found is, like we talked about, right? We've built oftentimes this brand for ourselves, but we aren't thinking about, okay, is this attractive to other people, to the people I am trying to work with or bring into my circle? And so this assessment is a handful of questions, a really great way to help you see, okay, where are you at with your brand? Like, have you crossed, your T's, dotted your I's the way that you need to, or are there maybe some things that you could do to improve? If you're thinking, I don't know if I need to rebrand or not, this is a great way to get a feel for the things that maybe you weren't thinking about. There's a lot of questions in there that many of the people that I have worked with have been like, I didn't even consider that part. So just something to get you thinking about, okay, what should I be doing a little differently to improve my brand, to make myself more attractive for those people that I want to be working with? And then maybe if you want to work together, you do that. If not, though, at least okay, here's some areas of focus that I can start directing my attention to.
And I was going to say, where can people find you online? Where can we find you? How can we reach out? How can we get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I actually have recently started my YouTube channel, which has been super duper fun, folks. If you're not on YouTube and you like recording video, let me tell you, that's where it's at. So that's been really, really fun. I've got my podcast that is hosted over there too. If you want to hop into DMs, you can find me on Instagram. I don't post there as much anymore because I'm directing my energy to YouTube, which is also, oh my gosh, so much better, folks. And then my website too at verduredesignco.com, which I'm sure Tiffanie will add everything to the links for you, because just like she said, I'm not trying to type that stuff in myself.
Yeah. I used to try and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm like, nobody. It's because somebody was like, on your images for social media, you need the website. I'm like, no, we can put a QR code, but nobody's going to type out that long, or maybe they will. I don't know. Y'all that are watching, tell us, do you type out those long things, or no, you're just like, where can I go find the link to click? So yes, definitely do go get that gift that she has for us, the brand attractiveness assessment. Hunter, in just a minute, I'm going to be coming to you to say, what is the one thing that the audience needs to know before we go? But before I do that, y'all, I want to remind you, on the 4th Wednesday of every month, except I figured out Thanksgiving and Christmas is going to interfere. I don't know what we're going to do in November, December. I will figure that out and let you know. But at least for September and October, we do have our Women Entrepreneurs Living Child-Free, a networking event. We would love to have you come on out. And as always, we love to play in our Facebook group. So if you go to Facebook and you just type in Women Entrepreneurs Living Child-Free, hopefully it'll pull up the fan page like that, so we can get to 100 subscribers and get this live streaming to that instead of just on mine. And the group, come hang out. We would love to have you. The intention is just the more women entrepreneurs that we can bring together, the better. And Hunter, I am curious, what excites you about networking and hanging out with other women entrepreneurs living child-free?
Yeah, I feel like for me, talking about kind of the loneliness of business, right? Like, I obviously, folks, if you were watching this, you know that I am a chatty bitch. Like, I love to talk. And so I really, really enjoy meeting other business owners, making friends, even if we aren't going to partner together, like, let's support each other. Let's do this thing that is business that some people kind of raise an eyebrow at, but we're like, yeah, we're doing it. And so I love the connections. I love feeling like I'm not alone in this. I know I just, work in my office in my home, but at least there's another face on the camera.
I think a lot of us, and it's interesting. I am finding that most of the women that I've met that are, living child-free are very much, maybe not nomadic per se, but they're not married to being in one spot all the time. They're not in that office. I can't talk. I bought my house in 2003. So I've been here 22 years. Now I do like traveling to more places. So y'all invite me places because I'll come and be there. And that totally works. And then I'll just come back to Tampa. I like having a yard for the dogs. And I like to go play elsewhere. But I do find that it's a much more nomadic community. It's a much more work out of whatever space that they're in and just enjoying life.
Exactly.
Yeah. And as y'all can tell, we really didn't talk anything about being child free because that's not what it's about. It's about having an amazing business. All right. So it is our time for the last call. This is your what do we need to know before you go?
I feel like big thing again is just remember that your brand is building a relationship with people. Your brand is building a relationship. It is important that you show up and exist in it the way that you want to, but that also aids the people who you are wanting to attract. If you need help with that, like reach out to me. I am here for it. I do visual branding. I do the strategy behind it. We can also just chat about karaoke if you want. So just find me online. I'm very excited to connect with you all.
Love it. Thank you so very much. It has been a pleasure to have you share with us today. Hopefully some of you are thinking about your brand like, do I need an audit? Do I need to check? And it's interesting because sometimes we get into a habit or a groove and we think we're going along fine, but we're not. So live example from today, I was at yoga class or I was at Pilates, but the yoga instructor was there. And I'm like, can you help me with this move? And it turns out I'm doing my arms all wrong. And it's not like a massive tweak. It's just like put your elbow by your knee and put this down here. And like all of a sudden it's like, okay, it makes sense now why it wasn't working. And sometimes you just need that outside perspective that's professional and knows what they're doing, y'all, to help get you back on track. So Hunter, it's been a pleasure having you here with us today. We're super excited to have you amongst this amazing group of women. And for the rest of y'all, we'll be back here, same bat time, same bat channel next week.